Sup guys, Fat Archon here, bringing another army view video. Today we're going over one of those books that makes me a little jealous to be a Chaos player, Agents of the Imperium. This really is a pretty slick book, and it really does make me a little jealous to be a Chaos player. Like, sure, I got demons and Chaos Knights and all that sort of stuff, but where the hell are my Chaos Assassins? How the hell are they not already Chaos Assassins? That seems like such an obvious thing to me. I'm so surprised that that is the thing. That seems like it would write itself, but enough about me, more about these guys. So, like I said, it really is like a pretty interesting book. You got you got like nothing but utility in this book, and what's amazing is that you can add them to any Imperial army, like any Imperium army, you can add them to them. So, you know, if you need, you're missing a cheap little infantry, you're able to bring them in. You just need somebody to attach your squads, give a little ability, able to add that, or maybe you just need a little murder bot, go out there and kill stuff. You also have access to that. Across the board, they're like really cheap, like almost every. I don't think there's anything above like 120 points. I don't think. So yeah, having access to that for your army, very powerful ability. I do think certain armies like Imperial Knights, I think they're going to lean on these guys like super heavily. I think you'll see them very often. Again, just for that little utility they bring, you can just buy a cheap little squad, have them sit on an objective and do nothing else, and you will get your points worth out of them. I am very impressed by Agents of the Imperium. For army rules, so it's kind of funny, like, can you say they have army rules? Their only rule is assigned agents, and basically all it says is that you can ally them into other armies, depending on the points limit. So if you're playing a standard 2K game, you can bring 2 retinue and 2 character units, so you can fit in a pretty decent amount of these guys to your army. If for whatever reason you need, you know, multiple things of what they bring, yeah, you got the capability to bring that. I like that a fair bit. If you're doing 1K, you just bring 1 of each, and if you're doing 3K or above, you can bring 3 of each. I guess the other rules that you can't make any of the assassins your warlord kind of sucks. That'd be cool if you could have your warlord going out there murdering stuff. But that's it for the army rules. Literally nothing else beyond that. No stratagems, no enhancements, none of that. These guys are strictly allies. Now, for data sheets, we got some pretty good options to choose from. So for the first one, starting off with a bang here, and actually, so before I go too far, all the assassins pretty much just about share an identical profile. So it is going to be the 7-inch move, so pretty good. T4, 4-up invul, so that's great, but only 4 wounds. So not the, you know, not the strongest of characters, but they do, every single one of them gets a lone op, so you should be able to keep them alive, even though they don't have the most amount of wounds. Now, like I said, we're starting off with a bang. So the Vindicare Assassin, somehow, he's the second cheapest one. He's only 80 points. This guy's only 80 points. Now, he's a sniper, so obviously he's got a sniper rifle. He's got the Exotus rifle. It's 48-inch range, so fantastic. You can just sit him in the very back, and you should be able to hit most of the targets you want to get. It's got a bunch of abilities, so it's going to have devastating wounds, ignores cover, heavy for some reason, but still nice to have, and precision. So you'll be picking off characters, you see them, you shoot them, basically. It is only 1 attack, of course, hitting on 2s, strength 7, -3, D3, +3 damage. So if you manage to get that dev wound off, you're going to do minimum 4 mortal wounds to a character. That'll kill your average character. Like, your average character is 4 wounds. It doesn't matter if they have a 2-up or an invul or any of that. There's a decent chance that, yeah, you'll be able to plink off a character each turn, hopefully. On top of that, so he does have infiltrate and stealth. Not really something you're going to use. You want to keep them far away from everybody, so like, I don't think you want to infiltrate them in the board. Maybe there'll be certain games or some crazy strategy you came up with where that'll be useful, but you really want to avoid that. And stealth only works in range, so like, you don't want to be shot. I should mention too, so he has like basically no melee. He does, it's 4 attacks, strength 4, only -1 AP and 1 damage each, so he'll kill like an infantry model or 2, but really, if he's in melee, you did something wrong. He does also have a pistol, too, I should have mentioned. The pistol's actually really good. I actually really like that pistol. So, similar profile as the rifle. So, dev wounds, ignores cover, pistol instead of heavy, but still has precision. Only 12-inch range, which is going to be 3 shots. Strength 5, -2, 3 damage each. So, being able to get, like, 3 super accurate 3 damage shots out there, like, that's all right. Again, it's only 12-inch range, and that'll negate your lone op, so you do not want to be that close to anybody. But there will come times when that comes up. You'll be able to take out a few of them with you. For his datasheet abilities, so he's got 2 of them, so you got Dead Shot. Each time this model makes a range attack, if a crit hit is scored, add 3 to the damage characteristic. And also, on top of that, like that wasn't already good enough, after it's resolved its range attacks, basically any unit that you hit, they have to take a battle shock test. Normally, I don't really rate that very high for like obvious reasons, but the fact that you are able to like hit across the table and force a battle shock and some like random little infantry squad that you need it on, saying like there's no character shoot or whatever, I mean that's actually pretty valuable. It's not the greatest thing ever because I can still negate it, but it's cool that you can like pick who you put it on. I kind of like that. Now, the other thing that makes them pop, Shield Breaker. So it is only once per battle, thank God. Basically, when you select a target for the rifle, you can choose to use the round. If you do, until the end of the phase, each time this guy makes an attack, the the enemy model gets no saving throws of any kind. That is crazy. So no invols, no armor, none of that stuff. This guy, if he hits and he wounds, like, yeah, he's just going to kill your character. It is, thank God, once per battle, but that is that's one of the stronger abilities in the game. I like that a lot. Again, this guy's only 80 points. I would bring him in my army, like, in an instant if I could. Well, most of the time. I don't think you, like, toss him in every single list, but if you got points left over and you don't think like you have the anti-character that maybe you feel you need, yes, there's a strong consideration for this guy. I think too, like all of us, we're going to be seeing this guy quite a bit. Figure out ways to protect your characters because this guy's going to be an issue. Yeah, he goes top of tier, or top of S. He's way up there. Definitely like that guy a whole lot. Next up, we got the Culexus. So this lady, her whole thing, she's anti-psyker. She's like an anti-psyker little missile. So, you know, if your local scene like has nothing but psychic army, Thousand Suns and Grey Knights and that sort of stuff, she actually might get her money's worth. She's more expensive somehow than the Vindicare. She's 85, so not that much more expensive, but, you know, every little bit counts. Identical profile, like I mentioned. So for range weapon, she's got Animus Speculum. So anti-psyker 2-up, assault, precision, and also it has a little psychic assassin ability attached to it. If she targets an assassin, you change the attacks total to 6, so you basically double it. It is 24-inch range, normally 3 attacks if it's a psyker, 6 attacks, hit on 2s of course, strength 5, -2, D3 damage each. Kind of stinks that's variable, but, you know, it is still multi-damage at the end of the day, so that's pretty good. If you see a psyker character, there's a decent chance that you can plink 2 or 4 wounds off it pretty easily, at least from range. For melee, she's got Life-Draining Touch. So again, anti-psyker 2-up, of course. Dev Wounds, which is interesting. And then Precision. It is only 4 attacks. Strength 4, -2, 2 damage each. But the anti-psyker 2-up with the Dev Wounds, like, that's actually pretty great. Again, the number of attacks isn't the best, but you should be able to get like 4 mortal wounds through if you get into combat with her. So pretty valuable to have. I should mention too, she has a deep strike and also has a stealth. So if there's a psyker that's like really juicy you need to get to, yeah, man, just put her in reserves and deep strike her down and hope that you make that charge, or be smart about and like, you know, play into it or whatever. For abilities, she got 2 of them. So Abomination, she gets a 2-up Feel No Pain versus psychic attacks because of that cool ass helmet she's got. So again, versus psychers, like, they're going to have a lot of trouble dealing with her. She does only have 2 wounds, so if they have, like, Weight of Fire or whatever, they should be able to get through eventually. But for, like, the quality attacks or whatever that will be coming your way, yeah, 2-up Feel No Pain is great, man. And in fact, it's like insane. The only issue is how rare it is. So it's not really something you count on every single game. Like, it's been brought up a bunch of times. Like, it's not always out there. I will say, though, a lot of people talk about how, like, oh, you know, it's only good if you see Thousand Suns or whatever. I think like there's a surprising amount of like incidental psyker characters that get tossed in a list that people don't even realize are psychers. So I think those come up a little bit more often than we think. It's just then you have the issue of like A, knowing about it, and B, getting her to them. So it's, again, you still can't rely on it, but I don't think it's as rare as we think. Maybe it's like a 25% or 30% sort of thing instead of a 10%. She also has Soulless Horror, so essentially any enemy unit within 6 inches has a -1 from their leadership, and if they're Psyker, they have to subtract 2. She also has a pretty interesting second part of that, so once per battle, at the start of any command phase, so yours or your opponent's, she can use this ability. If she does, every enemy unit within 6 inches has to take a battle shock test, and they'd all be at either -1 or -2. Again, I don't normally rate battle shock things very highly at all. This is actually like probably the best form of it. The fact that you're able to use it in their command phase is like extremely important. That could win you the game every now and then. It'll be extremely rare, but it could, because you just do it in their command phase so that they don't score that turn. So if it's turn 4 or turn 5, the game's really tight or whatever, you manage to get her in the thick of stuff, yeah, man, you just use that. It's cool, too. That's an aura, so you can affect multiple infantry doing that. Again, at the end of the day, it is a battle shock test, so it's not, like, as high as I'm praising it. Like, there's still ways around, and there's still reasons why a lot of people don't really care that much about the battle shock. But, again, it is the best form of it. For 85 points, like, she's not terrible. Again, she's really freaking niche is the issue. If you're fighting, like, Thousand Suns or a Psyker army or whatever, yeah, man, she'll go A+, potentially even S tier. But gotta rate her overall, I think. And overall, like, if there's no Psykers to attack, she's really just a kind of subpar character if you think about it. For 85 points, like, your army should have a better pick than this. So sadly, I think at the end of the day I have to put her at C tier. Again, if your meta has a lot of Psykers, or if it shakes out that Psyker armies are winning tournaments left and right, like, yeah, she'll go up in value, but for now I don't think I can rate her that highly. Alright, Eversor Assassin. So, if I had to write a list of, like, the top 3 or top 5, like, best, like, models in the game, like, fluff-wise, like, lore-wise, this guy would definitely go in that list. I remember as a kid in the 90s reading about this guy and just being, like, blown away at, like, the cool stuff he could do. What is it? The way I understand it is what? They like, inject him with a bunch of drugs, he's, like, crazy, and he's all about murder or whatever, and then they have to put him to sleep or something like that, put him in a like, a cryopod. When they're ready to use him, they, like, wipe his mind with the target's info, and then they just launch the pod at the planet. He lands, the pod opens, and he just wakes up ready to murder, and just, like, runs out murder. So, like, his entire life, once he joins the Assassins, it's just, like, murder, whatever. Yeah, I love the Eversor so much. And his drugs are, like, so powerful that when he dies, he, like, melts people all around. It's beautiful. Beautiful model. And look at the skull mask. How couldn't you love that? Anyways, enough gushing. So, his profile's slightly different. He has a 9-inch move, so he does get, a decent bit more movement, which is pretty valuable for this guy. This guy's mainly a melee character, for sure. Speaking of, so his range weapon kind of sucks. So, it's the Executioner Pistol. It is anti-infantry 3-up, and it is a pistol, so, like, you'll be able to use it in melee. 12-inch range, 4 attacks, strength 4, but no AP and only a single damage. So, yeah, it kind of sucks, to be honest. Now, for melee, though, so Power Sword, Noro Gauntlet. So, again, he has anti-infantry 3-up. It's going to be 6 attacks, strength 5, -2, 2 damage each. So that's actually a fair bit. I should have mentioned that this is the cheapest one. He's 75 points, so that's an okay amount of melee damage on a 75-point model, especially when you consider the 4-up end ball and the 9-inch move. Like, your army might not have access to something like that normally, so not too shabby. For his ability, so he's got a few. So first of all, he's got Deadly Demise D3, so that's beautiful. If he dies, he potentially will explode and hurt the guys around him, just like his fluff. I wish it happened automatically again, like it should have, but good enough to have. He also has Scout's 9-inch, so you add that to his 9-inch move, all of a sudden you have a pseudo 18-inch move, like first turn of the game. Obviously, like, you'll usually be smarter about that. You'll put him, like, behind cover or whatever. It all depends on the situation, but either way, this guy's getting across the field really freaking fast. That's like his thing. He's all about murder. He needs to get in there ASAP. For his other abilities, so he has a pretty good one. He has Friends On. So in your command phase, you get to choose from one of 3 effects, and they stay in effect until your next command phase. The first one is probably one you'll use the most, at least first turn. Basically, he can shoot and charge and advance. That is fantastic. This guy, again, he's speedy. He's all about getting across the board. I think that's kind of his specialty, is like the first turn charge or like the charge threat. You'd want something else to back him up, because him going in on his own, like, yeah, he's going to explode and do hopefully do a couple mortal wounds, but that's a valuable thing to add to your list. Again, you might not normally have access to it. Second up, he's got this one I might like the most. He's got Predatory Focus, so he gets Precision. This is, like, vital for getting your points worth out of him. If you manage to get him into melee with a squad, yeah, man, you're going to have 6 2-damage precision attacks going in there, so I like that a lot. The third one is also pretty good. Basically, you can give him Sustained Hits 3, so maybe there's no character to hit, or they're not valuable enough or whatever. He should be able to slice up a decent amount of infantry with the Sustained Hits 3. You get 1 or 2 of those, like, damn, now all of a sudden you are putting out a boatload of damage for your price point. He also has a Sentinel Rays, so once per battle round, you can target this guy with either Fire Overwatch, which you would never do. That would be like a meme, I guess, or Heroic Intervention for free, even if somebody else used it. So again, the Heroic Intervention, like, that plays into getting this guy into combat ASAP. He is all about that. I think overall, like, truthfully, he's probably not the best data sheet ever. He's really not. Like, again, your army should probably have access to, like, a good character that, like, meshes well with your army and all that sort of stuff. But A, when you count the fluff, he's S tier. And B, I really don't think he's that bad. Being able to choose the ability you want and getting 6 2-damage attacks, while it's not the best thing ever, I do like it a decent bit. I'm actually going to put him in B. I think the fact he's the cheapest, like, that helps him a lot. Maybe, nah, he's probably B. Like, I'm like, maybe he goes higher. Nah, he's probably B at the end of the day. Either way, I love that model, so I would play him in a heartbeat if I had access to him. And last up, we got the Callidus Assassin. So this one is, she's way more expensive than the others. She's 115 points, so quite a hefty price increase for that. So for a ranged weapon, she has a Neural Shredder. So this is anti-infantry 2-up. Precision, auto-hitting, so that's cool. You get an auto-hitting anti-infantry flamer. Only 12-inch range. It is D6 attack, so it is random. Strength 5, though, -2, only single damage. So it'll help you clear screens and whatnot. Maybe plink a few wounds off a character with that precision, especially if they're like a T3 character. Like, yeah, that might do all right. For melee, though, so she's got the Phase Sword and Poison Blades. This is lethal hits and precision, 5 attacks, strength 5, -4 AP, which is actually unique to her, and actually pretty good for certain armies, I don't know, like Custodes, or maybe ones without invols, actually, would probably be the best. That's pretty good. You'll just slice right through them, hopefully. 2 damage each as well. So, not a bad profile damage-wise. That said, like, she's more expensive than the Eversor, but it does less damage. I guess the AP, mathematically, it probably evens out, but still, just something to bear in mind. For abilities, so she does get Deep Strike, she does get Infiltrate, obviously you get Lone Off, but she also gets Fights First. That is, I always rate Fights First very highly. That basically, like, guarantees you should, hopefully, get your points cost out of a model, because, like, they're, like, near guaranteed to fight first. So I always like that ability, like having it on her as well. For her datasheet ability, she got a pretty good one, actually. So, Reign of Confusion. Once per battle, after your opponent uses a stratagem, you can use this ability. If you do, until the end of the battle, the CP cost your opponent must pay increases by 1. I believe, I'm near positive, that GW clarified also that if you use that ability, then the opponent still has to pay a CP anytime they want to use one of their stratagems, even if they use the zero cost ability. I'm pretty positive that GW came out and said, like, yeah, that's the way it works. She also has polymorphine, so at the end of your opponent's turn, essentially, as long as she's not in combat, you can Deep Strike her on your turn again. So that's great. She does have 1 objective control, so, end of the game or whenever, maybe you need to take a free objective, she'll be there to come help do it. I really do like the Fight First. I really like the add 1 cost to the stratagem. The polymorphine's not bad. Like, that's a utility thing that kind of helps you, helps with scoring potentially. So she has good abilities, but that cost is rough, because she's when you think of 115 points, like, that can bring some pretty damn good units. And at the end of the day, you're getting a 4 wound, 5 attack model. So you basically bring her for the utility. I like her, like, I like all that stuff, but I don't think it pushes her up high enough, truthfully. I'm not sure if she belongs in B or C. I think people might talk crap if I put her below the Eversor, though, so I will put her in B. So that's my view on her. All right, mainly for the infantry. First up, we got an odd one. We got the Rogue Trader Entourage. So these guys are like a character and a mini squad. They can be attached to the Breachers or the Voidsmen. I doubt you'd ever want to do that, but you could. They're 105 points, so relatively spendy for kind of what you're getting. And what you're getting infantry. So 6-inch move, only T3, a 4-up save, and a 4-up invul, so that's not shabby. The Rogue Trader, so the leader, he has 4 wounds. Everybody else has 2 wounds. I believe, it equals out to 10 wounds in the end. So not a terrible points to wound ratio. For their loadouts, they got a variety of them. They seem like, the way I was thinking of them, is they're like a pistol squad, it seemed like. All of them are just 12-inch range. Some of them do hit on 3s, but others hit on 4s. You got a little bit of multi-damage, but all of them are low attack or whatever. I really don't think you bring them for the damage output that much. And their melee is, like, terrible. I really wouldn't, like, bring them for the melee. They do have the Death called Power Blade, so that is precision with 5 attacks, hitting on 2s, strength 4 -2, but only 1 damage. So, like, yeah, you'll be able to hurt a character a little bit, but it's not really why you bring these guys. For their abilities, though, so that's why you do. First of all, they got Infiltrate. So if your army doesn't have access to that and you'd like to add that in, yeah, just bring these guys if you want. They also give the squad they join Infiltrate. So if you wanted Voidsmen or Breachers with Infiltrate, I guess you got the access to that. Now, the reason you really consider them, though, Warrant of Trade. So if you bring one of these units, basically, after players deployed, select D3 Imperium battle line units and redeploy them. That's cool. You can put them back in Strategic Reserve, just get them behind cover, whatever you need to do with that. So that's actually kind of cool that you can add that to your list for 105. Do be aware it's only battle line units, so it's not going to be all of your infantry. The first time I read this, that's what I thought it was. I'm like, oh, damn, gives you a lot of access, but it is only battle line. Also, too, I should mention that they have Healing Serum, so the models in their unit get a 5-up Feel No Pain. So if you do add them to, like, Voidsmen or whoever, like, yeah, you get a 5-up Feel No Pain on top of all that. Also, don't forget the 4-up Invol. Like, that's not bad at all for a squad like this. I will say, at the end of the day, like, how important is that redeploy? You should, like, deploy properly anyway, so hopefully you don't need it. But it's not something you normally would have access to. So they're kind of hard to rank. I think I'm put them in C, to be honest, though. I truthfully, I don't like them. Like, I wouldn't bring them. If you want my honest opinion, yeah, I don't think I'd ever bring them. All right, next up. Vigilant Squad. These guys are like complete garbage. This is probably the worst unit in this book. I'm going to put them in trash here in a second, but I guess we'll go over them. Pretty much what is it? They all have just pistols and a close combat weapon. You can give like 2 of them a grenade launcher and a shotgun. The shotgun's pretty cool. You can also give them a doggo, so that's quite important. Getting the Cyber Dog for free, in fact. Pretty good. So for their stat line, they're 6-inch move, only T3, 4-up saves, not terrible, 1 wound each, 7 leadership, 2 objective control, so again, not terrible. Their ability kind of sucks. Each time a unit makes a ranged attack, if you're below half strength, so half dead, you add 1 to the wound roll. These guys are already hitting on 4s across the board. The grenade launcher's not bad, but everything else kind of sucks. So, like, getting +1 to wound, that really doesn't, like, matter for anything to me. And they're close combat, and again, they only have close combat weapons. If you bring the dog, you get 3 strength 4 attacks, but no AP, none of that. And then you give it the, Nuncio Aquila. Enemy units within 3 inches. Anytime they take a battle shock, they subtract 1 from the test. We know how much that sucks. I guess it does, like, work on their turn, so, okay, whoop-de-woo. These guys are what? They're 105 points and, like, are worse than any squad you should be able to bring in your own list. Yeah, these guys go straight to trash tier. I don't know what GW was thinking, especially when we get to some of the other guys that you can bring. Speaking of, we got Subductor Squad. So these are the melee specialists. These guys actually aren't too bad. So actually better stats than the other guys. So 6-inch move, T3, 3-up save, and a 4-up invol. So these guys are actually really damn resilient. They are more expensive. They're 110 points. I believe they can still bring the doggo. Let's check. Yep, still bring the doggo, so quite important. Again, they're melee, so they all have pistols, and they're only single-shot pistols, so there's none of that. They do all have a shock maul, though. So it is 2 attacks each, hitting on 4s, strength 4, -1 AP, 1 damage each, so not the best ever, especially at that price point. But I think these guys, you don't bring them from the melee, you bring them from the resilience, I think. For their abilities, they basically get Fight on Death. Fight on Death on a 4-up. Again, they're not doing that much damage. Even if you get Fight on Death on like 2 or 3 of them, I still don't think you like do any damage most of the time. It's really not that valuable. And just like the last squad, they got the Nuncio Aquila, so the -1 to their battle shocks. I mean, they're better than the other guys, but I don't think the 4-up invol and the 3-up save is pretty interesting. Like for Imperial Guard or whoever, like that's actually kind of cool. But they're still pretty spendy for what you're getting there. I think I'll put them, I'll put them above the Entourage. Truthfully, yeah, I would probably bring these guys before the Entourage. So yeah, I'll put them in C tier. Okay, and then one of the other all-stars of this book, we got the Exaction Squad. So when you look at the melee, the profile, which, by the way, these guys are sort of like ranged mainly, or sort of a bit of everything. Like, doesn't look that good, right? They, so they only have a 4-up save and the no invol, so, not the best thing. But then you look at their points, so let's pull it up. 35 points. 35 points, and what you're getting for those 35 points, how these guys are cheaper than everybody else, I don't know. So, first of all, you can bring 2 special weapons. So I think you would bring the shotgun and the grenade launcher every time. If you bring the grenade launcher using the crack profile, which is what I'd use every time, it's 24-inch range, not bad at all. Only 1 shot, only hit on 4s, but it is strength 4, -2, D3 damage each. 35-point unit. Like, even if that was the only thing they put out, like, that almost, like, wouldn't even be that terrible. So I like that a lot. For the shotgun, it is 24-inch range, which is amazing for a shotgun. Ignores cover and precision. Only 1 attack, hit on 4s, but it is strength 5, -1, 1 damage each. So, like, for a 35-point unit, like, you should be able to get damage through every now and then. I like that profile quite a bit. You can also give some of them the Excruciator Maul. There we go. 2 attacks hitting on 3s, strength 4, -1, 2 damage each. So again, like, what the hell, man? These guys are better than all the other ones we've looked at. And then, on top of that, so their ability is going to be Imperial Law. So at the start of the fight phase, select 1 enemy unit to be the quarry. Each time a model on this unit makes an attack, add 1 to your hit roll. So sweet, you're already doing better than all the others. Now you're hitting on 2s and 3s. That's pretty good. And then for a 35-point unit, that's like insanely good. And then on top of that, you get war gear abilities. So you can bring all 3 of them. So you're going to do that every time. First one, you get the med kit. So you give everybody a 5-up feel no pain. What is going on here? You give them the Nuncio Aquila, whatever, we don't care about that. And then you can get a Soul Guilt Scanner, so ranged weapons, ignore cover. What the heck is going on here? I would bring, so if I had access to these in any one of my armies, I'd bring them every single time. I'd probably bring 3 of them, like, every single time. Do they have objective? Do they even have objective control? Like, what is going on with these guys? They go, like, I think, honestly, I think they go above, they might go above the Vindicare. They might be tied, maybe, but, like, I would nominate them for the best infantry in the entire game. When you consider their points cost, I put them up there. Do they have the doggo, though? And they have the freaking doggo. Yeah, man, these guys, super, ultra S tier. Yeah, bring them every time, or at least consider them every time. I wonder if they're sold out already. But, all right, Voidsman at Arm, if I'm not mistaken, these guys are 40 points as well, so also a cheap unit. Let's just double check. Yep, 40 points if you go min squad of only 5. I should have mentioned that too. You obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, but yeah, 5 man for them. Goes up to 70. I think it goes to 75 if you bring 10. It's like more expensive. Yeah, don't bring 10, just bring 5. All right, Voidsman. So enough about the super ultra unit. So pretty okay profile for, well, actually for the cost, yeah, pretty okay profile. 6-inch move, T3, but 4-up save, 1 wound each, 8 leadership, so really terrible leadership, but 2 objective control. For their output, it's really not the best thing ever. Like, the main thing is that they got the rotor cannon, so it is heavy, which will help offset the hitting on 5s normally. Sustain hits 1. 24-inch range, 6 attacks. Like I said, hitting on 5s. Strength 6, though. No AP, 1 damage. It'll help get some wounds on T3 every now and then. The accuracy's terrible, and no AP doesn't help, but every now and then it'll do something. They have basically no melee whatsoever to talk of. You can give them the doggo, though. And then for their ability, so if you attack the closest unit, you get lethal hits. It should be clear that, like, you don't bring these guys for, like, any of those abilities at all. You bring them to have a 40-point unit with a 4-up save, sit on an objective, hopefully get cover saves and whatnot. That's, like, the entire reason you bring them. Unfortunately, when you got the exaction squad, I really can't, I don't think I can put them in S tier. Although... Yeah, I can. I mean, like, they're cheap enough that, like, yeah, if you don't have exaction, just bring these guys. I will put them in just A+, though. Cheapness is a quality all its own, whatever the saying is. All right, next up, we got Navy Breacher. So, unfortunately, we're back to being expensive. These guys are, I believe, they're 105. They can not bring the dog. That's right. All right, trash. No, anyway, so same profile as the last guy. So T3, 4-up save, still have the 8 leadership. You can, like, deck them out in the war gear, but I don't think it's the best ever. Not at the price you're paying. You, like, if you're Astra Militarum, just bring an infantry squad. You can give, like, demo charges, so you got some explosives. Those are actually kind of cool. Blast, assault, hazardous, only a single shot, but 6-inch range. But you get D6 plus 3, hit on 4, strength 12, -2, 2 damage each. So that's actually kind of cool, especially with the blast. You do have to get up in there, but interesting profile. They also got the melt-a-gun, like I mentioned, heavy shotgun, all that other stuff. Again, they hit on 4s across the board. I guess a lot of the stuff, the strength is above average, but there's not that much AP to talk about. Yeah, I'm not too sure. You can give them a chain fist, you can give them a power weapon, a chain sword, so like you can deck them out a fair bit, but you gotta remember 105 points when we got other units that are like 35 points. For their ability, you got Breaching Team. So each time a model in this unit makes an attack, reroll a wound roll of 1. If they're within range of objective, you can reroll the wound instead. That actually is pretty good for a relatively cheap unit. Being able to reroll those wounds like helps you get your points efficiency. You can give one of them an Endurance Shield for a 4-up invul, so that's cool. He can hopefully tank a couple shots. And then Grenade Build, so you get the Smoke keyword. What else does it say? You get the Smoke keyword, and each time you select the bearer's unit as the target of the grenade stratagem, you roll 1 additional d6. So, whatever. Again, I already mentioned, the other squads are just so much better that they make these guys look bad. I think if they didn't exist, wouldn't be the worst thing ever. Yeah, I'll just put them B, bottom of B tier. They're not terrible. They bring an okay amount of damage. I guess somebody needs to get on Unit Crunch and do the math hammer and let me know, are they efficient? I don't really think so. Maybe they even belong in C. The next squad, so these guys are also cheap. They are 40 points as well. They have a terrible profile, though. So 6-inch move, T3, only a 5-up save. 2 wounds each, though. So all of a sudden, I take back my terrible profile thing. I forgot about the 2 wounds. I'll be real with you. 40 points each. I think it's only 4. Let's check. Yeah, it's only 4 of them, so that'd be 8 wounds for 40 points. That's pretty damn good. Only a 5-up save, 7 leadership, 1 OC, but either way. The base squad is only Acolytes, and Acolytes are, terrible. Hit on 4s, only a single shot, only 12-inch range, minus 1 AP and 4 damage, but only 1 damage as well. They also have Acolyte melee weapon. It is junk. That one's 3 attacks, hitting on 4s, strength 3, no AP, 1 damage each. So you really don't bring them for the damage output. You bring them for 8 wounds at 40 points. That's pretty cool. Something I really like about this squad is that you can pick and choose the buffs you want for fairly cheap. You can bring the Jakiro for only 10 points or the Demon Host. So, you got an extra 10 points to spare? Yeah, man, just bump them up a little. The Demon Host, I like a decent bit. The issue with these, though, is they all need an Inquisitor leading the unit. So you do need to bear in mind that adds the cost quite a bit. So they're really not, that good, but if you brought a Jakiro, if you brought a Demon Host, while an Inquisitor is leading the unit, if it has a Demon Host, they all get a 5-up invul, so that's awesome. All of a sudden, that helps make up for their pretty poor resilience. The Jakiro, it'll give you +1 to your wound for range attacks. That's awesome. I've always loved the Jakiro. Pretty interesting unit. I'm surprised it's still a thing, to be honest. The other ones aren't that good. Okay, Mystics is all right. Basically, nobody can deep strike within 12 inches, so that's, not terrible. And then the Acolytes, so the base ones that you get, period. While an Inquisitor is leading the unit, each time attack is made, you subtract 1 from the rune roll. So again, that helps with the resilience. I actually, now that I'm rereading it or whatever, I'm okay, these guys are actually pretty legit. I will say there's one issue with them. If you try to you can bring, the gun servitors and the mystics. If you do that, all of a sudden the price just skyrockets. So if you bring 1 gun servitor and 1 mystic, just those 2 units alone, I believe, are 60 points. I believe. Oh, no, okay. I'm reading it wrong. They split it up, so it got weird. 4 Inquisitor Acolytes, 1 gun servitor, and 1 mystic for 60 points. So, okay, I read that wrong. Still don't bring them, I don't think they're that worth it, but, yeah, it's 60 points if you go there. So, allow me to cut that out of the video. Anyways, when you consider the 2 wounds and being able to bring a buff if you want, they're not terrible. They're not terrible. I will say, they hit on 4s or 5s across the board, so not, the best there. But, yeah, I think they go A+. Would I put them above Voidsman? I think I would. Double the wounds for the same cost, yeah, I think they go above them. In fact, I'm putting them, I take that back, I'm putting them in S tier. Very end of S tier. They might just belong in A+, but yeah, put them back there. Alright, now we're on to the Inquisitors. So what's really cool about these guys is they can join any Imperium battle line unit. That gives you access to a bunch of really cool little combos. I was thinking about it before the video. So one of the ones I was thinking, Brotherhood Terminators from Grey Knights, our battle line. So if you wanted, you could add one of these to that. Who else was it? Custodes, yeah, Custodian Guard. If you wanted, you could add one of these guys to it for relatively cheap. Man, that's kind of cool to have access to that. I will admit, most battle line probably don't need or couldn't make use of these guys, but you got there if you need it. So to start off, we got Inquisitor Curia Draxus. This person is basically like anti-Xeno. So if you got a lot of Xenos in your local area, you might look into bringing this guy. Only 75 points for the loadout. So you got Dire Singer. It's anti-infantry, 4-up, dev wounds, and assault. So that's kind of cool combo right there. Only 18-inch range, but 4 attacks, hit on 3s, strength 4, 0 AP, 2 damage each. Normally that would suck, but getting the anti-infantry and the dev wounds, like that actually makes up for that a fair bit. You should be able to get like 2 to 4 immortal wounds a fair amount of the time. Also has a Psychic Tempest, so this is indirect, which is awesome. I would have been sad if it wasn't. Psychic, sustained hits 2, also 18-inch range, but 6 attacks, hit on 3s, strength 6, no AP again, 2 damage each. So this guy's actually putting out a decent amount of hurt for the 75 points. Indirect to 75 points too. Like, is that the cheapest in the game? Potentially, I'm not too sure. For melee, also has a Power Fist, so 3 attacks, hitting on 3, strength 6, minus 2, 2 damage each. So, you know, no klutz in melee either. I don't think I went over the profile, so 6-inch move, only T3, 3-up save, and a 5-up invul, so not the best. Only 4 wounds as well. So they will be kind of sniper food. You got to watch out for that sort of stuff. For abilities, though, so this is why you'd probably bring them. You got Authority of the Inquisition. By the way, oh yeah, I should mention that. All of them, except for Mr. Karamazov, have the ability to join a transport. If you attach them to a squad, they can join that same transport that they can, for what that's worth. The other one, though, they got Xenos Hunter. So while this model is leading a unit, each time a model in that unit makes an attack that targets a Xeno unit, you can add 1 to the hit roll. That is, like, really powerful, especially to toss it on to certain units that can make use of it. Maybe, you know, Astra Militarum, they got terrible BS or whatever. Suddenly you can boost that up. So not too bad. It is restricted to only Xenos. It does not work versus Imperium or Chaos either. So, like, it'll come up a decent, like, there's a decent amount of Xenos out there, but I think the most common are still Imperium, so do be aware of that. Their second ability is going to be Psychic Veil. So in your command phase, this Psyker could use this ability. If it does, you roll a d6. On a 1, you hurt yourself, but on a 2-up, until the start of the next command phase, this unit can only be targeted if you're within 18 inches. That is a very strong ability. Only will really work like first turn, so do hope that you get first turn because it goes off in your command phase. So that is kind of actually kind of big drawback because that's the main reason to use. And then again, you know, even if you go second, as long as you deploy them right and move them right, you might still get to use that. I like that a fair bit. And again, being able to attach that to like the Brotherhood Terminators and that sort of stuff, that's pretty interesting. I think of the Inquisitors, I actually like her a fair bit. The whole one of their abilities not working on the Xenos, I think actually you gotta look at Psychic Veil as like the main reason to bring them. But the that Xeno Hunters, when it comes into effect, is pretty powerful. Yeah, I like you know, good damage, okay profile. Yeah, I'm gonna put them in A. All right, next up we got Karamazov, the big dude, the big dude in the walker, grandpa in a walker. This guy's kind of like a tank. He can't join any units, so he's solo. Only a 5-inch move, so he's really slow. T8 though, 3-up save with a 4-up invul and 9 wounds, so really good resilience right there. 3 OC. He does have a master-crafted Melty Milta. So Melta 3, 18-inch range, 3 attacks, hit on 3s, strength 10, minus 4, d6 damage, so not bad at all. He is slow, and that is short range though, so those two like really clash with each other, and trying to get within Melta range, like, have fun with that. But he's also got a master-crafted power sword. Not bad at all. 6 attacks, hit on 3, strength 6, minus 2, 2 damage each, so he does an okay amount of damage if you bring him in there. He has 105 points, so he's one of the more expensive options in this book. He does have Deadly Demise 1, for what that's worth. His first ability, Throne of Judgment, so an aura. While a friendly unit is within 6 inches of this model, you can add 1 to their battle shock, and then enemy units within 6 inches have to subtract 1 from their battle shock and leadership test. So, kind of short range, but, you know, it's nice to boost up your own battle shock. Not the worst thing ever. And then Dread Reputation is his other ability. At the start of your shooting phase, select 1 enemy unit within 12 inches, and they must take a battle shock. We've been over 1,000,000 times. That's really not the best one, especially if it goes off in your shooting phase. You know, really not that valuable. This guy's, I don't think he's the best. I was wondering, could Custodes make use of him? Because in a Custodes, he'd be relatively cheap. 105 points for the T8 9 wound profile and the multi-melta. I think that'd be like a main thing. You sort of get anti-tank for relatively cheap in Custodes. For most other lists, though, I really don't see it personally. Yeah, I'm not going to rate him that high. I think he just goes like C. I think he just goes like mid, maybe upper C. But yeah. Love his model. It's kind of, sort of. It's kind of funky. I'm kind of getting a little old, to be honest. But still, it's the idea behind it is awesome. All right, next we got Inquisitor Greyfax. I believe she is 65. Let's double check, though. Yep, 65 points, so fairly cheap. What was her thing? That's right, she essentially gives you anti-psyker, so she's another one of those anti-psyker units that you bring. Similar profile to before, so 6-inch move, only T3, 3-up save, 5-up invul, and only 4 wounds, so not the most resilient. She does have a freaking 4-up leadership save, which, yeah, that's the highest I've seen yet. That's, like, incredibly high, I believe. Well, I know it is incredibly high, but I think it's one of the highest in the game. For ranged weapon, she's got Castigation, so 18-inch range. It's got anti-character 4-up, devastating wounds, precision, and it is psychic. It's only a single attack. Hit on 3s, though, strength 8, -2, 3 damage each. So, with the anti-character and the dev up, like, not the worst thing ever. She also has a Condemner Stake, so basically her bolt gun. Well, literal bolt gun. So this is the anti-psyker 2-up, dev wounds, precision, and rapid fire 1. It's also a 24-inch range, only 1 shot without the rapid fire. Hits on 3s, strength 4, no AP, 1 damage each. So not the best thing ever. Dev wounds with the anti-psyker 2-up and the precision, like, okay, cool, you'll get one more wound on a character. Every little bit adds up. She also has a Mastercrafted Power Sword, so only 4 attacks. Hit on the 3s, strength 4, -2, 2 damage each. So she'll be able to kill a Marine or 2. For her abilities, Sio Colum. So while she's leading unit, ranged weapons by that unit have anti-psyker 4-up. So she's like a finesse pick. If again, if you got a bunch of psyker armies in your meta, or like your friend always brings freaking sniper assassin as list and you freaking hate it, she'll be able to give you some counter with that. Because again, she can join any battle line unit. So heck, even like heavy intercessors, you know, you can make them anti-psyker if you want. She also has no escape, so any unit within engagement range, aside from monsters and vehicles, basically have to make a desperate escape if they fall back. And if they're battle shocked, you add -1 to that. And, you know, it depends on the squad you attach her to. Certain squads are like melee or whatever, like, that will be kind of valuable, but not going to come up that often. She is, like, really cheap, and she gives you that little bit of utility, but she has crap for damage. I don't think that anti-psyker 4-up is really that valuable. She's really flimsy. Honestly, like, I want to like her, but I don't. I'm going to put her in D tier, I think. Not the best. Alright, next up, we got Inquisitor Courtiers. So this guy is actually kind of awesome, depending on the army. He's kind of awesome because of his profile, in my opinion. 6-inch move, T3, with a 2-up save and 4 wounds. I actually like that a fair bit. That 2-up save, like, you can attach him to some crappy infantry that normally have, like, a 5-up save or whatever, and use this guy to tank a few of them. He does only have a 5-up invul. I wish it was a 4-up, but can't win them all. He's pretty cheap, too. I want to say he's 75. Let's double check, though. Yep, 75 point. So a little bit more spinning than the others, but not too shabby. He has a bolt pistol, and then he has Psychic Blast, so anti-infantry 4-up, devastating wounds, psychic, 18-inch range, D6 attacks, hit on 3s, only strength 3, -1, but 2 damage each, so anti-infantry with that dev wounds, he'll be able to plink a few more wounds through. He also has the Nemesis Demon Hammer, so this is pretty awesome. It is psychic, only 3 attacks, hit on 3s though, strength 9, -3, 3 damage each, so getting a 3 damage output on a 75 point character, you don't see that every day. I wish he had more attacks, like, make it better, but again, it's not that bad. For his abilities, so Malefic Warding, so while he's leading a unit, models in the unit get a 5 of Feel No Pain versus psychic attacks and demon models. I laugh because of the demon things, like that's like the most specific rule I've seen, but you know, every now and then some psychic attacks will come at you. It's really not that valuable because of how rare it is. His second ability though, Spy Network. Each time your opponent gains a CP from an ability, so I believe it'd have to be like a datasheet ability, you roll D6 on a 2-up, you also gain 1 CP. Gaining CP is like really rare as it is. Like normally there's only like one option in each index that can even do that. So I don't think you'll see that much. That said, there is some play in the sense that like maybe you desperately need command points for the list you're running and you're just looking for like any way to bring it. You bring your index's native CP region and then you bring this guy in too. Like, okay, at that point, yeah, there's a chance he'll gain you a couple CP over the match. Maybe. So, he brings some pretty interesting stuff. I don't think he's like that good. He has too low of attacks, and the feel no pain is like way too specific. So I can't rate him that high, but he's better than a lot of the others we've seen. Ooh, do I put him in A tier or B tier? He's really cheap, and that 2-up save I like a fair bit. Would I put him above a Callidus? I would, actually. I think I would. I'd put him above an Eversor. I think I would. So, alright, I'll put him bottom of A tier, I think. Alright, we're getting towards the end. So, Inquisitor, this one's really cheap. 55 points. You get a pretty basic stat line. So, 6-inch move, T3, 4-up save, 5-up invul, only 4 wounds, but not terrible for 55 points. She does have a bolt pistol, combi weapon, and psychic shockwave. So psychic shockwave, it's going to be dev wounds, psychic, auto hitting, 18-inch range, 2d6 attacks, but only strength 3, -1, 1 damage each. You do have the dev wounds, so like that will help a tidbit, but don't expect too much to come from that. For her melee, she has Inquisitorial melee weapon. So this is going to be 5 attacks, hitting on 3s, strength 4, -2, 1 damage each. So that's alright for clearing out chaff, but really you'd use the force weapon. So it says psychic, but it's 4 attacks, hit on 3s, strength 5, -2, D3 damage each. For a 55-point model, 4 multi-damage attacks, not the worst thing ever. For ability, this is why you really bring her though. So, Power of the Rosette. Each time you target this model's unit with a stratagem, roll a d6. On a 3-up, you get 1 CP. Again, if you are like desperate for command points and your Brotherhood Terminators or some other important unit really needs to use certain stratagems, you have the ability to bring this gal in, and potentially she'll help you like save some of that CP so you can use on other stuff. She also does have war gear, so Blessed Wardings. While they're leading the unit, you get a 5-up feel no pain versus mortal wounds. That's actually really good. Mortal wounds are like fairly common out there. Certain armies are going to like build their lists around having that ability. So being able to toss it onto a squad of your choice, not the worst thing ever, especially again for 55 points. Actually, because she's so cheap and she gives you that feel no pain, like, again, I think she's like a finesse pick or like a tech pick. If you need that feel no pain, maybe like last game you played with your friend, he kicked your butt with mortal wounds, yeah, man, consider Inquisitor. I don't think she goes too high up. Where do I put her? 55 points, I like that a lot. Would I bring, let's do the test. Would I bring her above a Callidus? Maybe not, because I like that 4 AP a bit. So, alright, yeah, we'll just make it simple. Ooh, I like the Eversor too much, though. We'll put it right behind the Eversor. Middle of B, basically. And last up, we got the man himself, Eisenhorn. Unfortunately, I don't think this guy's that good. So 6-inch move, only T3, 4-up save, 5-up invul, only 4 wounds, so nothing special there at all. For his range, he's got the Artificer Bolt Pistol, so it is 4 attacks, only 12-inch range, hit on 3, strength 4, but no AP, but 2 damage, so, you know, you kill, like, crappy no-save infantry, or maybe get lucky and kill Marine. And then he also does have a Mind Assault, so it's Dev Wounds, Precision, Psychic, Sustained Hits 1, 18-inch range, only 2 attacks, hitting on 3s, but strength 5, -2, 3 damage each. So he is sort of anti-character, or he is anti-character. You get him near some weakling, like a Demonette character or whatever, he has a good chance to blast him. The Dev Wounds helps with that as well, although you do have to roll like a 6 for that. For melee, he's got Rune Staff and Barbara Satyr. So this is melee, 5 attacks, hit on 3s, strength 6, -2, 2 damage each. So not the worst melee ever, actually. 5 attacks is pretty decent, especially with the 2 damage and the 2 AP. Like, not the worst ever. He does get a 6-up feel no pain, which will kind of help. For his abilities, though, Malus Codixium. While this model is leading the unit, double the attacks characteristics by any demon host models in that unit. So that's pretty crap. That said, if you bring those guys, like, there's an okay chance you'd bring the demon host for the 5-up invul. It is nice that you get to double its attacks, but they really aren't the best attacks in the first place, so, yeah, whatever. He does also, so this might be the reason you bring him, maybe. He's got the Dominate Will. Basically, in your opponent's shooting phase, you can choose 1 infantry within 12 inches invisible. You roll a dice. On a 2-up, they're -1 to hit. On a 6, they can't shoot at all. I mean, I guess if you attach him to an infantry, it's not the worst thing ever if he gets within 12 inches of them. I also really hate the fact it's infantry only. Like, that does detract quite a bit from it. So, like, all around, like, the only thing he really seems to be bringing is that Mind Assault. And I guess the Rune Staff, like, if you need some 2 damage to add to your squad, it's not the worst thing ever. I believe he's, I want to say he's 65, though. Let's double check. So, 65, he's, like, kind of on the cheaper side of things. So not the worst ever, but again, when you look at all the other data sheets that are up there, I think it just goes C. I would put him below Karamazov, to be honest. Probably above Subductors, though. Alright, guys. Well, that seems to be the list. Let's see. Would I want to change anything? So we got Exaction, Vindicare, Henchman, Voidsman, Greyfax, Codiaz, Callidus, Eversor, Inquisitor. Honestly, no, I'm pretty happy with this list. I think I agree with it. Okay, you know what? I don't know why. Maybe it's just like how they look or whatever. I really do not like that entourage. So actually, I'm going to drop them down to D. Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't like their models. So yeah, they go in D. Anyways, it's a pretty fun review. These guys, like I said, man, this army brings a lot of fun neat little tricks that you can bring. 35 freaking point unit being like the top one. I would take that in a second. When do I get my own Agents of Chaos book, GW? When is that on the way? Anyways, hope you guys found this useful. As always, let me know if there's anything you would have changed or anything I might have missed, definitely. If you guys liked the video, consider liking and subscribing. It really does, like, give me the motivation and the drive to keep going. You guys have been wonderful, by the way. Like, thank you guys for sticking around. Anyways, good luck out there, and have fun, guys.